Alright, folks. I'm going to try to do this pretty quick so it don't take too long. I'm going to do a word that has 2 words from the Hebrew and 2 words from the Greek. The verses you can find them in are there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's just on the base word. Variations of the word are used much more. But anyway, I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to let you see it. I might have to say it. Let's just say red rum backwards. Murder. And different words are from the Hebrew is 20, 26, and 75, 23. And yeah, I messed up right there. Psalms, where it uses 20, 26. Y'all can just look that up and read that. But I don't think there's any notes in that one. Oh yeah, it does have a note, note A. And which is just stating that it's a Hebrew word, helkah, weak ones. And and that might not be helkah. It's anyway. Might have to go back and check on that. And this goes further. It says, from an unused root, probably meaning to be dark or figuratively unhappy, a wretch, unfortunate, poor. Now 2026, the word that it is in Hebrew for that verse, the version of the word that they used. Harag, emphasis on the rag part. Harag, harag. Primary root, to smite with deadly intent, destroy, out of hand, kill, murderer, put to death, make, slaughter, slay, slayer, surely. That's first page. And the other verse I use to get the second word that is used for murder, 75:23, says, they slay the widow and the stranger and murder the fatherless. And it's from a word, rasak, or it might be ratak. Not sure if the S is silent or the T is silent. But primary root, properly to dash in pieces, i.e. kill a human being, especially to murder, put to death, kill, man, slay, slayer, murder, murderer. The New Testament, the Greek, Matthew 19:18, 54:07, the word used there, he saith unto him, which? Jesus said, thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. The word, 54:07, from the Greek, phanyuho. You can kind of get how speaking these words could be guttural, like you hear some people speak those languages in movies and whatnot. Unuho, from 5406, to be a murderer of, kill, do, murder, slay. And then Mark 15:7, and those, and there was one named Barabbas, which lay bound with them that had made insurrection with him, who had committed murder in the insurrection. And word 5408, very similar to the first word I showed you. Phonos, from an obsolete primary, phono, to slay, murder, murder plus be slain with, slaughter. That was pretty straightforward, about what you'd expect. So that has changed very little over the centuries. But as Miss Linda commented, words now and words then are very different. There have been changes in dialects every generation in every language, and then you've got the translation from one language to another. And this is another reason why it is good to search words out to see not only what they mean, but what they meant then, centuries ago, in those times, and learning the history of it to see how and why it was used in those ways. Language is a very precise thing. That's an important reason why, you know, somebody says, oh, you know what I mean? Well, no, actually I don't. Why don't you break it down? You know, and usually it's a lack of ability to be able to break it down as to why a lot of people will say, you know what I mean. And some things you might, you know, depending on the type of situations that are being discussed. But when it comes to this, language is a precise thing. In the Harry Potter movies, in the last one, where Harry was in the train station with Dumbledore, Dumbledore made a statement that I have to agree with. He said he finds words to be a magic of their own, because depending on how you use them and put them together, can make a huge difference in how a thought is conveyed. Yeah, so that could apply to when you pray and talk to others. Yeah, you want to be kind of precise about what it is you're saying. But then also the one who's listening needs to be focused on exactly what it is you're saying and not be having thoughts of their own mixed in with what you're saying and wind up cutting out the meat of what you've said, and for fear of looking foolish or stupid, don't ask you again what it was you said, because, you know, they're afraid of looking foolish or stupid. And that's how some things can get mixed up real bad real quick. You know, as Paul spoke, he told the people, he said, I speak in tongues more than you all. Now, folks, he wasn't talking about just when the Holy Ghost falls and people start speaking in tongues. He wasn't talking about just that. Paul was a very learned man. He knew at least 4 or 5 different languages. And tongue is what they refer to as language. And but he told the people, I can speak in tongues more than you all, but that he would rather speak a few words to the edification of the church than to speak 10,000 that they don't understand. So needing to know words, what they mean and how they were used, is very important in conversation, especially, in any conversation. Cuts down on misunderstandings and gets more precise as towards what you want, especially when you're praying. You can be precise with God in what it is that you want. And now don't get me wrong, sometimes we get extreme anguish and all we can do is a silent scream. Well, God understands those prayers too. But in general, when talking to God, because that's what prayer is just talking with God. It isn't a ritual. It isn't anything like that. It is talking with God, communion with God. And you talk with God as you would anyone else, to your best friend. You let it all hang out. And he understands. But the more precise we can be in our communication, the better things go. So those who are listening need to be paying attention and not just hearing the words. So, because communication is a two-way street. If one is talking and the other one is just seeming to be listening and doesn't get to talk, that's not a conversation. That's one talking at the other and not to the other. And, that's not communicating either. Anyway, that's on murder. And I am going somewhere with this, folks, because I've got one in mind that's going to bring this one into it. But y'all just keep watching for it. Piggy loves you.